Hello there, friends, and welcome to episode 54 of That One Gaming Podcast. My name is Colin, but I'm otherwise known as Delicious Morsels, and here today with me is Lucas, aka Carnevil9. How are you doing today, Lucas?
I'm living in fear of a tortilla chip on my desk.
Yeah.
I just had to open my big mouth, didn't I?
Neil, how you doing today? Neil is here, better known as VMK89.
I'm doing well as well.
Well, how about that Metroid Prime 4?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was beyond my expectations that it would come up.
Certainly beyond Lucas's expectations as well. Hence the the tortilla chip. Would you like to explain for our listeners that what is going to transpire after we record this that will have already transpired by the time they hear this, but what can you do?
Yep. So in the after the Nintendo Direct was announced on Tuesday of this week, I immediately said, wow, can't wait for almost 7 years to the day of no information on Metroid Prime 4. If they announce anything about Metroid Prime 4, I will eat the Packy One Chip Challenge chip. And, well, I apparently willed Metroid Prime 4 into existence at my own expense, so I hope you're happy. You can thank me later.
So if there is in the next episode an absence of Lucas, or there just isn't a next episode, that's why. But anyway, if you're new to this podcast, welcome. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, or one of the many other podcasting platforms out there where the three of us, at least until Lucas dies to a ravenous tortilla chip, get together each and every other week to talk about a variety of topics in the world of gaming. And this week, we are introducing another new style of episode, the Music Box. In these episodes, we will discuss the music of video games based on specific topics. And to kick things off, we are talking about opening level themes, or the level 1 theme, to be a little more precise. Not to be confused with the game's opening theme, the level 1 theme is often the first track you hear upon gaining control of your character in a game. And we've each picked a selection of favorites to discuss today. But before we get into that, we'd like to talk about the games we've been playing since the last episode. So, Lucas, what have you been playing?
I have been playing more and more 20XX.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I've made it as far as the boss fight of the 8th round. And I've unlocked a bunch of cool items, including a couple new weapons for Nina and a couple new weapons for Ace as well. So I started trying to get further with Ace because previously had gotten nowhere. And I also started my playthrough of our next That One game.
That's a good game.
It is. Made it through the first boss so far.
Yeah, I've got a playthrough that I started on the PlayStation 3 sometime last year because I got the collection for PS3. And then I played probably like 2 or 3 hours of it and then got distracted by another game, as was the case of last year. There were a lot of games that came out last year. But it's available on PlayStation 5 now. So I bought it. And I have it loaded up, and I'm ready to play it.
Nice.
And I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm just playing PlayStation 2 version, and then when I went to fire up the game and try it out on my PS2, I made the discovery that my DualShock 2 was dead.
Oh no.
So I just reordered one off of eBay because
shocking.
Yeah. We did make a trip to our local game store last weekend during Magic Night, and
Yeah, they don't have any.
yeah,
They didn't have any when I was looking for one either. That's how I ended up with the Participation Station 2 controller.
yep, the old Double Shock.
Yeah.
Mm.
They also had Double Shock 3s, but why would I do that?
What is Neil been playing?
I've also been playing Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus.
Oh, is that what we're doing for our next That One game?
It
Did I just spoil it?
Oh.
No, we announced it in the That
We
One Gaming
announced it in the
podcast.
Discord.
If you
Hold
were
on.
in the Discord that we'll talk about in a minute, then you would probably know that our next That One game already. You would already know that our next That One game is Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus.
I feel like I'm always the one to spoil it early. Anyway, though.
I just thought it was funny how Lucas and I were just kind of like dancing around the title of the game. And you're just like, yeah, by the way, I was playing Sly Cooper.
I am the rogue element. But yeah, I also just got past the first boss. Yeah, it's a good game. I get a little bit frustrated with it because there's not a lot of margin for error with how much damage you take.
Yeah.
But still making it through.
Well, the trick is to not take damage.
Right.
Be stealthy and whatnot.
But yeah, what else have I been playing? Sonic Generations I picked up again. I would like to beat Sonic Generations because then I feel like I'd be willing to move on to Sonic Unleashed for the PS3, which I have a copy of.
Beat Generations just in time for Shadow Cross Generations.
Correct.
But then you
Yes.
only had to play the Shadow stuff because you would have already played the Generations stuff.
Exactly.
So you're saving yourself the trouble.
Mm-hmm. Also, I bet it's not going to be completely the same experience on Shadow or the Sonic side of Shadow X Generations, just because I imagine they're going to have some issues licensing some of the music that was in Generations. Not necessarily the level themes, but the music box that you can play in Sonic Generations, which is a great feature. You once you beat a stage, you can pick any music you want from a selection of music that you can unlock
Oh, that's cool.
while you're playing. Yeah, it's super cool. But yeah, so I doubt Endless Possibilities is going to be a choice in the new re-release. But yeah, that song is fantastic, and I love it.
Did you hear their excuse about why Shadow isn't going to have guns in Shadow Cross Generations?
Because it's an E-rated game?
No. Shadow doesn't need weapons because Shadow himself is a weapon.
I mean, that's not...
literally their explanation, and it's the most freaking like Shadow the Hedgehog thing ever.
He has been defined as a living weapon in the past, so that's pretty accurate lore-wise.
He doesn't need weapons because he himself is a weapon. Just hear it come from the actual developer's mouth just makes it even more funny.
Right. So yeah, on top of Generations, I've also been doing a bunch of BizHawk shuffling.
Yeah.
Sometimes streamed on the Discord and sometimes not. I put together a unhealthy BizHawk shuffler.
Oh.
It was not good. It was not fun. Give me a second, I'll pull up the games. Echo the Dolphin for the Sega Genesis.
Oh god.
Frogger's
already
Adventure. Frogger's Adventure for the Game Boy Advance. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets for the Game Boy Color. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories for the Game Boy Advance. A Link to the Past. SNES, of course. Mario Kart DS. Sonic Pinball Party. Looks like I put in Sonic the Hedgehog 3 as well for the Genesis. And Star Wars Trilogy, Apprentice of the Force, which is a licensed game for the Game Boy Advance. And then Super Mario Advance 3, the advanced version of Yoshi's Island. And
Interesting.
It was not great. I messed around doing shorter segments before the shuffler changed the game, and doing longer segments, and both of them were not fun.
That has me wanting to do like it would be a terrible thing to do, but to do like a shuffle of like Final Fantasy 7 through 9.
Oh no. Well,
Or
those are all...
maybe like 4, 5, and 6 would work.
Yeah, because I don't remember exactly
games.
where. Yeah, Super Nintendo would work better because BizHawk only goes up to
arcade machines, Apple II, Atari 2600, Atari 7800, Atari Lynx, ColecoVision, Commodore 64, Game Boy, Super Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Mattel and Television, NEC PC Engine, TurboGrafx for us here in North America, Neo Geo Pocket and Pocket Color, N64, DS and DSi, NES, Famicom Disk System, Odyssey 2, Genesis, Sega CD, 32X, Master System, Game Gear, SG-1000, Saturn, PlayStation, SNES and Super Famicom, PCFX, TI-83 graphing calculator.
Nice.
The Uzi Box, sort of like imaginary computer system. Vectrex, Virtual Boy, WonderSwan and WonderSwan Color, and the ZX Spectrum, as well as a couple of experimental cores, because there is an experimental PlayStation 2 core in the most recent version.
Interesting.
But most importantly, it does support PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yes.
PlayStation 1, at least.
Yep.
Okay.
PS2 support is coming. Cool. 7, 8, and 9 would still be a terrible shuffler experience, though, because those games are pretty cinematic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also don't know how well the shuffler would work with multi-disc games. So there's that too.
Right. I would actually... I kind of want to do a shuffler of like all the different versions of Final Fantasy IV, kind of like what Neil is doing with Sonic 1 right now.
Yes.
That'd be fun.
Because I own many different versions of Final Fantasy IV. It would be kind of fun to play all of them simultaneously.
Yeah.
Yes. I am currently going through Sonic 1, as many different versions as I could get. I was hoping to get Sonic Jam in there from the Sega Saturn, but Sega Saturn emulation was giving me trouble getting the BIOS and all that.
Yeah.
Making it work properly. But yeah, Sonic 1, but 3 different ways. DS, GBA, and Genesis original was a lot of fun. So
yeah. And it was an interesting one because it definitely seems non-trivial bouncing back and forth between those versions.
Yeah.
See, because
especially anytime you go to Sonic Genesis.
Yeah, the Game Boy Advance. Feel the difference. But I was also noticing DS differences as well. Just minor stuff.
Yeah.
Plus, the DS apparently, I didn't remember this from having that game as a kid, but it uses the Revision 1 version, or Revision 0 version of the original Sonic 1, which had the glitch with spikes. Get hit by spikes and land on spikes again. You don't have any invincibility frames and you just die.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yep. It's great.
See, I could set up one with Final Fantasy 2, I guess, the Super Nintendo. Final Fantasy 4 Advance, Final Fantasy 4 on the DS. I could even use the Final Fantasy 4 on the PlayStation from Final Fantasy Chronicles. Do 4 versions of Final Fantasy 4 simultaneously. That would actually be really fun. I kind of want to do that.
I will say, bouncing back and forth between when I was doing my more eclectic one with a bunch of different games, every time I got chain of memories. It was like, all right.
Oh yeah, you got like 30 seconds into
cutscene
the
again.
cutscene. It's like, okay. You get back, it's like, all right, more cutscene. Okay. Yeah. That's where I feel like the DS and the PlayStation versions will fall behind. The PlayStation version will just fall behind just by virtue of it being a slower game because of all the issues going in and out of menus and stuff like that.
Oh, right.
But the DS version added a lot of new cutscenes and voice acting to the game because it's like a full from the ground up 3D remake. So
yeah,
but it'll still be fun.
Yeah, it's definitely very interesting to see what game gets through various parts faster. What game you have the worst gameplay experience on, or like how well you do in the game. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. Colin, how about you?
Guys, I did it.
Oh yeah,
I finished my quest. I am fully caught up in the story of Final Fantasy XIV, and I did it before Dawn Trail Early Access starts this coming Friday. I did it, and I'm so incredibly happy. Final Fantasy XIV is I've been talking about it ad nauseum for the last couple months, obviously, but it's just so incredibly special, especially once you get to the later expansions. Like Shadowbringers and Endwalker are just hands down some of the best storytelling in any video game I have ever witnessed ever. Shadowbringers alone is like top tier. And then Endwalker, just the way it like Cap puts a nice little bow over top of the story that they have been building on for the last 10 years. And the way it just kind of like pulls from strings that are from like freaking 10 years ago. And you're like, oh, I remember that from A Realm Reborn. And they're like wrapping it up in freaking Endwalker. Like it's crazy. All this stuff that they were able to pull off with the story of this game just because they've just been building it out gradually for so many years. And then the post Endwalker content, because I think, yeah, I had finished Endwalker before our last episode. I talked about that in our last episode. So I just had to finish the post Endwalker patch content and the stuff they did with that. Speaking of Final Fantasy IV, I'm not going to say anything beyond that, but like as big a fan of Final Fantasy IV as I am, I was very, very, very happy with what they did with the post Endwalker stuff. It's so good. So good. And I wish I could talk about it, but I can't because it's still so fresh. But also it's something that I would want you guys to experience for yourselves, even though, I mean, I'm being completely honest. You might not ever experience it, but you should. You definitely should. Because the way this game rewards the time that you put into it is just incredible. And so I spent the last few days since finishing the story. I finished it on Friday night. So I spent the last couple days just doing other things like leveling up other classes and just doing a bunch of the side content that I haven't done yet because I've been just mainlining the story and just like it's a whole different vibe now because I don't have this like this like trajectory in mind anymore of like finishing the story. So like there's just all this other stuff now I can do. It's like crazy. Like I spent this morning, I'm working on the scholar class, which is a healer class, and I'm very nervous about healing because like a bad healer could really sink your party when you're going in dungeons and stuff if they're not like on the ball. And I've always been kind of nervous about that just because the like playing with a controller versus mouse and keyboard, the game is built with controller in mind, so it is perfectly playable with controller, but there's just another level of accuracy that you get just being able to click on the person you're trying to heal with your mouse that you don't really get that with controller. It's just like little things like that have kind of made me nervous about playing healer and stuff, but I've been kind of working my way through Scholar. I've got it at level 46 right now, so almost level 50, which is pretty cool. So I'm about halfway there with level wise. And it's really fun. And the fun thing about Scholar is you get this little fairy that you can summon that also just hovers around and heals everybody passively. So in lower difficulty content, like really, really early dungeons and stuff, you almost don't even need to heal yourself because your fairy is doing enough healing output by itself to get everybody through. So you can just focus on DPS and stuff as a healer. It's really fun. But then I was doing a dungeon today where the tank was getting very ambitious with its mob pulls between boss fights, and he got a little bit ahead of me and ended up dying because I couldn't keep up with him. And then the tank died, so then everybody went after the DPS guys. The DPS guys died while I was trying to revive the tank, and then I died, and we all just wiped and went back to the start. Thankfully, like, if you die mid-dungeon, there's a little short... Like, it teleports you back to the beginning of the dungeon, but then there's a little teleporter that spawns up that teleports you back to kind of relatively close to where you were. And they're actually... In Dawn Trail, they're making it even better. I don't know how it's going to work for, like, between bosses and stuff, which is where we died this time, but if you die at a boss, like, if a boss wipes your party in Dawn Trail... They're actually making it so now there's like no walk back whatsoever. You just hop in the teleporter. It takes you right in front of the boss again. So you can just try again. It makes it a lot quicker. Because yeah, currently right now, especially like the end boss in dungeons, if you wipe, there's a pretty good walk back to get back to it. It's just it's kind of amazing it's taking them this long to do that, because it's something that's just, it saves so much time to just be able to get right back into the fight again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so much fun. It's so much fun running dungeons in this game. They all follow the same formula basically, except for some of the Realm Reborn stuff where we're still kind of like, they hadn't quite developed the formula yet, so you get a lot of stuff in Realm Reborn that's really experimental and not often just not that good, but still fun. But the typical dungeon formula that they kind of settled on in Heavensward, and more so from Stormblood forward, was you start out, there's a hallway you'll run through that's got a few mobs, you pull the mobs, you mow down the mobs, boss fight. And there's another hallway with a couple packs of mobs, then there's a boss fight. There's another hallway with a couple packs of mobs, and then the final boss fight and stuff. It's just, so really where the fun comes in is those boss fights. And then also it's just really satisfying to mow down packs of mobs when everybody is like in the zone. Because you've got like freaking like 30 enemies all swarming your tank, and your DPS is DPSing and your healer's healing and stuff. And it's really cathartic in a way. Just mowing down these packs of mobs. And then the boss fights with their different mechanics and stuff. Some of the stuff in Endwalker was just insanely fun. Just they're all this different tricks that they try with the different mechanics and stuff like that. Such a fun game. I'm really looking forward to starting Dawn Trail on Friday. I can't wait. I've been playing it for the record. Also, my clock when I finished the post Endwalker patches. So I got the little notification now to be continued for my main story content stuff. 371 hours of playtime on this character. I would say I'm pretty sure I could confidently say that about 20 hours or so, give or take, like maybe 5 hours either above below, but about 20 hours or so I would say was just doing other non-story related content. So that leaves about 350 hours for A Realm Reborn through Endwalker with all the patch content in between. So that's basically 350 hours for 5 games and their DLC. Pretty reasonable, I think. It's pretty reasonable. It's doable. I just did it. I proved it. It's doable. And like you look at the 350 hours thing, and I mean, I've said it before. 350 hours is a lot of hours, but not for 5 games and DLC. it's about 70 hours per. That's expansion plus DLC included. So average and stuff. So it's pretty reasonable for an RPG, I would say. And a lot of people just are scared to take that first step because, well, that's a lot, and it is. But still, at the same time, the best time to start is just right now because they're only going to keep adding to it. I mean, there's an expansion coming out in 5 days from recording for early access anyway. So, I mean, they're only going to keep adding to it. So if you've ever wanted to get into it, the best time to start is just start. And you don't have to play through all of it over the course of 2 or 3 months like I did. Like, you can pace yourself, and you should pace yourself. But like, it's so worth it, guys. It is so worth it. I laughed and cried so goddamn much throughout all of that. It was so worth it. I love these characters and stories so much. God. Okay. Anyway, there's my weekly Final Fantasy 14 monologue out of the way. Let's move on. Because now it is time for our Hey Listeners segment.
Hey, listen!
Each episode, we ask our Discord community members a prompt based on the topic of the episode for them to respond to. And if you, listening to this, would like to join in on the fun, there is a link to that Discord down below. And we hope to see you there. This week, the topic at hand was opening level themes, and apologies to our community members. I was not very good at phrasing the prompt, so there was a little bit of confusion, and that's kind of reflected in some of the answers that aren't necessarily technically opening level themes, but we'll just roll with it. That was completely my fault. I should have earlier on specified that I'm thinking like level 1. The music that's playing, not because opening level can be construed with opening theme sort of thing sometimes. It's understandable. That's my bad. But we got some good responses. And our first response comes from Lord Kirov, who writes, "Yo, as much as it killed the franchise, Command & Conquer Red Alert 3 had some epic music for all its faults. The Soviet theme is a few of my playlists even years after." The next writing comes from Bramflakes, who writes, "Kokiri Forest theme from Ocarina of Time, the Outset Island theme from Wind Waker, and the Azalea theme from Tales of Symphonia all stick out in my noggin. All so cozy and optimistic, and the perfect setup for the quest of a lifetime." Those are all very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Diablo writes in, "I don't know if it counts, but the opening title sequence of Assassin's Creed 2 gave me the chills the first time I played it, and after playing through the Ezio trilogy, it's like it gains a whole new meaning after seeing everything Ezio has gone through from that moment." Now, I think for clarification's sake, Diablo also mentioned like this was the song that plays like when you get the title card for the game, so I think there is some gameplay leading up to that point. And then our last comment comes from Jazzy. "I've got 2 for this one. One is Bob on Battlefield from Super Mario 64. As many issues as I have with Super Mario 64, music isn't one of them, and Bob On is such a hype tune that really sets the whimsical nature of Mario's first 3D game." And
stole one of my picks.
That's oh man, the Bob on Battlefield is such a good song.
It is.
It won't be the last Mario related song that comes up
Oh yeah.
in this episode because surprise, there's some good music in Mario games, especially the opening levels. That's like one of Mario's signatures is that first level. Everything about it, from the gameplay to the music, is designed to hook you like few other games are able to achieve. And then Jazzy's comment continues. Would it surprise anyone to hear that my other choice is Destiny Islands from Kingdom Hearts? There's so much nostalgia here for me, and it never fails to make me smile. No, Jazzy, that doesn't surprise us. And I agree, that's also a very good song.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, thank you everyone for your write-ins. And a reminder also, you can join our Discord if you would like to also write in. There's a link down below. So before we get into the main topic, this episode is probably going to be the one most likely to ever get us in trouble, if any episode is going to get us in trouble, because we're going to try and have the music that we're talking about playing as we're talking about it, so that way you, the listeners, can hear what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be an experiment. We'll see how it goes. But, Lucas, your first track comes from Mega Man X2, The Abandoned Reploid Factory.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I got to X2 and heard this track. It was like, oh. It was like, I was curious how they were going to top Mega Man X's soundtrack, and then they lead off with this. It's like, what?
Yeah. They completely revamped the sound font for X2 as well, and I think this track really demonstrates that pretty well too.
Yeah. I just love that opening arpeggio, and then everything like kind of comes to a head. Yes, this arpeggio here is just like, so good.
So shout outs to my boy Green Biker Dude. May he rest in peace.
Yeah. God, I love Mega Man X music. X2's got some great tunes to it as well, but this
really
one in
does.
particular is just phenomenal. And it really takes the energy and gets the hype going for the rest of the game as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah. It's like, if I had to pick a Mega Man like opening stage theme, it's probably my favorite. Another one I really enjoy is the opening for Mega Man 7 on the Super Nintendo as well, but like this one is just blows that out of the water even.
Mm.
I'm just really nostalgic for 7 because that was my first Mega Man game. But yeah, Mega Man 2 or Mega Man X2 just like shreds all over its soundtrack, and this is just like the beginning of it.
Yeah. So Neil, what do you got for your first track over here?
Well, this is one you actually covered because it's from Celeste.
Aha!
And I will say, I feel like this is the first level. There is a prologue to Celeste, but that's more of a tutorial / cutscene. First Steps is the name of the first level, the Abandoned City. And hey, it's got first in the titles, so we're gonna go with it.
It does. I love the way the song also just kind of gradually builds up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that piano kind of stays with the song throughout the majority of it. It just kind of like starts out in the beginning and then kind of carries on throughout the rest as the melody slowly all builds on top of it. I had a lot of fun covering this track, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell.
I just love the way it builds up.
Yeah.
And it's got such like a hopeful kind of vibe to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is before you start dealing with your antagonist in the game, so it's really just getting used to how this game controls now that you have your dash. So yeah, this is just pure Madeline getting ready to climb this mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, leave
And Celeste, it's got the adaptive music thing going where like when you get to certain parts, more of the music kicks in. It just makes playing this game makes the music even better than just listening to the soundtrack, which is still really, really good.
Yeah, I love when games have adaptive music like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth did remake as well, did a lot of that, where you would be in an area and you'd have the area theme playing, and then when you get into a battle, then it would sort of morph whatever theme is playing in that area into the battle theme. And it was really, really cool how they did that. Like, that's just one example of many different ways that games have taken that concept. I mean,
yeah. I mean, a standard example of it is like Mario and Sonic as well. In the later games, you go underwater and the music changes to be more like muffled and a little bit sound a little different.
But yeah, the entire Celeste soundtrack is incredible. I mean, I think we talked about it a bit during the Celeste episode, naturally.
Yeah, I'm sure we did. Yeah.
Oh my god, just there's so many incredible tracks on that soundtrack. Yeah. It's one of the greats for video game soundtracks by far.
The whole soundtrack is on streaming, so you can listen to it. Plus, we've got That One Game album that you can get on streaming, so listen to those 3 tracks as well.
Yeah, because I had fun with those. It was stressful at first trying to find sourcing for learning those tracks, but we got there, and it turned out really good. Yeah. I mentioned in the Celeste episode that there was some opportunities to get some different tones out of a 7-string guitar than I was used to, and I really, really enjoyed that part of working on the music for it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, plug. Go check those out. I got links to my music stuff down below in the description and stuff. At least I usually do. It should be down there. Anyway, my first song of the day comes from another game that we featured on a That One Game episode that I have covered in the past. The overworld theme from Super Mario World. This song is probably the earliest, most formative song in my life as far as video game music goes.
Dang.
This is ingrained in my brain in ways that a lot of music just isn't. Like, there's so many times I will just randomly start breaking out and whistling this song, humming this song. Just, I wouldn't be thinking about it at all. It's just this, like, I'm a compulsive whistler. Apologies to people that work with me. I can't help it. I just randomly start breaking out and whistling throughout the day, especially if I'm in a good mood. The better the mood I'm in, the more often I am to just compulsively whistle. And a lot of times it ends up being this song. I just love it so much. Like, Koji Kondo just is a legendary composer. He's done Mario, he's done Zelda, he's done so much of the classic Nintendo tracks. And this is one of my absolute favorite above all of them. I just love it so much.
It's a fantastic tune.
Yes.
It's so bouncy, and then when the Yoshi part kicks in, you got that nice little piddle paddle that Yoshi does. Yeah. So good.
I often associate this song to Super Mario Bros. Z. I believe this is the song that plays at the title screen.
Yeah, I love it so much.
The-
I had
you-
no idea what to do with my cover version of it though. So I just like it's one of those situations where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing with this, so I'm just gonna slap metal on it.
yeah.
And I guess it turned into a ska song.
I absolutely adore your cover of this one.
Yeah. Also, ska
especially that
metal
little-
is fun.
Also, that little bit where it goes into woodwind instrumentation. I love that bit.
It's just such a weird. Yeah, I have fun with that. Once I just committed to letting the song write itself, I was like, all right, this is actually kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah. This was also the last That One game that I actually did a video for, and
Yeah,
I'm very happy with that one as well.
yeah, it was really fun. Can always rely on Mario to have good music.
Oh yeah.
Ah.
Mhm. Yeah.
But Lucas, tell us about your next pick.
Cool. So, I don't know. Maybe a little cheated on this one because it's not explicitly the first level of Kirby Superstar, but it is the first level of Revenge of Meta Knight from Kirby Superstar. And it's some definitely masterful music from the Super Nintendo. It is Halberd Nightmare Warship from Kirby Superstar.
Whoa. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. That's all I have.
Yeah. Like,
oh, this is so good.
yeah. And like the way it's presented in like Super Smash Brothers, is sort of a jazzy rendition, but like the way that it sounds through the Super Nintendo's sound chip, it sounds metal as
Yep.
Yeah, this is like hardcore.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
And honestly, the rest of the soundtrack from Revenge of Meta Knight is absolutely fantastic as well.
Ooh, that synth.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, this is making me feel things.
This lives in my head rent free.
Understandable. With how much you talk about playing Kirby Superstar.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is a good video game song.
Yeah, it is. If you haven't played Kirby Superstar, you definitely gotta play it.
Yeah, just like that. Oh, that super quick bass line was so good.
Yeah.
And then that swooping synth kind of like comes in and that like goes up and down and like a little roller coaster in a way.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a good song.
Was it like the 8-Bit Big Band got nominated for a cover of this for a Grammy, if I remember correctly?
Was it this song?
I believe so.
Interesting. Because they got nominated for something from Kirby Superstar. I just don't remember exactly what the song was. It was a Kirby Superstar song, though.
Yes.
Oh, they won it. Actually.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they did Meta Knight's Revenge from Kirby Superstar. Maybe we'll feature that song on a future episode like this.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Assuming this doesn't get us completely and totally nuked by copyright agencies. But hey, the way I figured, other podcasts feature video game music all the time that are much, much bigger than ours. And they're still around. So we're gonna roll the dice on this and have some fun. Anyway, our next song comes from Neil. What do you got?
I've got an absolute classic. Super Mario Bros. 2, also known as Doki Doki Panic. First level. Fall out of the sky. Everybody's heard this one, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
This
Yep.
also lives in
This
my
is
head. rent-free.
same.
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I got my Super Nintendo with Mario All Stars and Super Mario World, and so I played alternate between them quite regularly. And Super Mario 2 / Doki Doki Panic was always kind of a favorite to mess around in. And this song, God, this song. Yeah.
I love
Yep.
the bass line of this song.
Hmm.
Like, I specifically sought out like jazz renditions of it just to hear like that walking bass line done
Mhm.
by on upright bass and
Right.
beautiful.
Yeah, this song is so good.
Yeah.
Just the kind of ragtimey feel. Is that? Yeah, that's ragtimey. Kind
Yeah,
of.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, Super Mario Brothers 2 is definitely like the one that I'm least good at, but
Yeah. Yeah,
it's worth
it is.
playing it just to hear this theme.
Right.
Yes. Yep. You can hear it a few times before you end up getting a game over. So.
Well, my next track comes from Final Fantasy VII, and it is the incredible bombing mission theme from the beginning of the game. But more specifically, the version from Final Fantasy VII Remake, because just they took it and just made it even more incredible. I love this riff building up. In the original, it was just a solo piano playing this like low riff, and everything kind of builds up around it. So such a cool way to open a video game.
Yeah.
And then playing Final Fantasy VII Remake for the first time in 2020 and hearing the way that they blew this song out it was so amazing. Just one of Uematsu's best compositions, and he has many.
Yeah.
He has many, but this song is just so incredible. Just the pacing of it and the way it's implemented in the game. It just, oh my god. And this part that's coming up is my favorite part in the whole song. Kind of builds up, and then it drops into this sick riff right here. I love this so much.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is good.
Just, I have always loved that part of that song. It's just like, and Final Fantasy VII was also like my first time experiencing a game like it. Like, I'd never played an RPG before. I didn't know what an RPG was when I was playing Final Fantasy VII. I just knew that like this music was just absolutely incredible. And like with like Super Mario World, like that overworld song, that was a pretty formative song for me. Like this was another very formative song for me. This was one of the first times I really took notice of the music in a video game in like a conscious way. Because it's like Super Mario World, I mean, obviously like it was kind of more of a like a subconscious thing, which is why it got so ingrained in my brain so deeply, is because I was just absorbing it. And I just always knew I loved it from there. But this was one of the first times with a song in a game where I was like very like conscious of how and why it stood out to me, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And just I have loved every single rendition that they've ever done of this song. The Black Mages did a version of it on their third album that kind of metaled it up a little bit, and that was so good.
I love the Black Mages.
Yes. But just hearing what they did to it for Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I mentioned that Remake had dynamic music as well, so you would hear like this song kind of intensify and turn into a battle theme in a way, which was so cool. But anyway, let's move along to our final picks. This was going pretty fast. Maybe next time we'll do more. I wasn't really sure what to do with this episode because first time doing something like this, I wasn't sure how much we would say over each respective song and stuff like that. So maybe next time we'll do 5 tracks the next time we do something like this. I don't know. Anyway, Lucas, what's your third and final song for today?
Oh,
Your
well.
honorable mention.
Yes. I do have an honorable mention. That's Dark Clouds from Biometal. It's
Biometal.
a shoot 'em up on the Super Nintendo that you probably haven't heard of, but you definitely know this song because it's actually just Twilight Zone by 2 Unlimited, which is, like probably one of the most well-known jock jams that you would hear at any sort of sporting event. I most often hear it at like hockey games, right up there with like Zombie Nation and Get Ready for This by also by 2 Unlimited.
Oh, you mean this song?
Yeah.
Hey, yep. Yep.
It's like this game's just really cool because the entire soundtrack for the North American version of it is just 2 Unlimited tracks.
Yeah, when you showed us that song, I was like, wait, no. And I was like, immediately my brain went to like just the 90s gaming landscape and its knack for just complete and total disregard of copyright music and stuff like that. But no, it's like, this was actually them
Yep.
that did the soundtrack for this game.
Yeah. Like they inserted a splash screen over the Super Famicom version that just has the big 2 Unlimited logo on it in the North American version. Like the whole soundtrack is 2 Unlimited and it's fantastic.
That is amazing. But anyway, how about your actual final song?
Yes, let's quit monkeying around and well, get into some jungle hijinks actually.
Oh, yes. This brings back memories.
Yeah,
Donkey Kong Country is just one of those games.
it is.
What do I mean by that? I don't know. Just enjoy the song.
Yeah.
It's such a good song. Such a good
Yeah.
game. You get this beat that kind of builds up.
Kind of reminds me of like the drum intro to Down with the Sickness. It's like that slow drum build and then the guitar
Yes.
riffing starts.
Oh, can you feel it? It's just another one of those songs that it just gradually builds and builds and builds on something until it's just this masterpiece. And I love it when songs do that.
Like, it's probably one of the like only songs that has like compelled me to actually like attempt to make a song mashup. Like aforementioned like Down with the Sickness vibes from just the opening drum, but then also like I don't know if you're familiar with the song Weapon of Choice by Fatboy Slim, but like just like get strong Donkey Kong vibes after like that super iconic Hammond organ sting. It's like Donkey
So
Kong
good.
Country 1, 2, and 3 all just have incredible
They do.
soundtracks. Like,
They do.
yeah.
Like their
they're-
underwater themes especially are just like some of the best underwater music.
There was one day back when we were working at the detail shop together still, like we just unironically listened to the Donkey Kong Country soundtrack.
Yeah. It's that good.
Yeah.
But Neil, you got an honorable mention as well?
I do. And this is more because I didn't want to do more than one Sonic track. But you can't not talk about first levels of Sonic and not talk about City Escape, or Escape from the City as the song is actually titled.
Yeah. That's just an absolute classic.
Yep.
It's like one of the first songs that come up when you think about Sonic music.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, yeah.
And honestly, they do a great job with how this gameplay interacts with this song. That riff comes down as Sonic's falling out of the airplane from the opening cutscene, and it revs up right when his snow or skyboard hits the pavement. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And also, a fun fact, in that level, some of the cars are based on actual real car models. One of them is a blue 1997 Honda CRV. Guess who used to own a blue 1997 Honda CRV? Me. Guess what I did with that car because I just felt like doing something stupid with my car because I had disposable income. I turned that car into the Sonic wagon and it was coated in stickers of Sonic memes. And then I found out that the Sonic wagon was actually canon in the Sonic universe. And I lost my mind.
Yep.
I wish I still had that car.
As soon as you found out about it, you like ordered a sticker with the screenshot of the car in the game on the car.
Right.
And then I put it on the car.
Yep.
See, beautiful. It's canon. Oh my god, I had so much fun with that car. I wish it didn't crap out on me. I love that car.
It was a good car.
Yeah.
I miss it. We went to see Metallica at the drive-in with that.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah. With its fold-out table in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, in case you didn't know, the first two generations of Honda CRV, the cover in the back of the car that covers the spare tire is actually a fold-out table for camping.
It's great.
And other applications. It's awesome. It's the reason I wanted that car to begin with.
Yeah.
Because it's just something about that fascinated me.
First and second gen CRVs are the coolest.
Yes, they are. I wish I had both of those still.
I do too.
I miss my CRVs. Oh god, they're comfy cars. They've got some great storage space for their size. They've got a freaking picnic table in the back.
It's real easy to pop the front Honda badge out and replace it with your own custom Sonic the Hedgehog badge made from a belt buckle.
It is. Can confirm.
Yep. You can order Sonic the Hedgehog spare tire covers on it.
I 3D printed those.
Yeah.
Or wait, no. You're talking. I'm thinking the caps. You're thinking spare tire cover, right?
Yep.
That was also a custom job.
Yep.
But I also 3D printed custom caps for the wheels.
Yeah.
That's I lost them all on the highway.
Yep.
Because I didn't use the correct a heat resistant plastic rather. I just used the basic filament that you use with a general use 3D printer like what I had. Not like a ABS or anything like that, because my printer can't handle ABS. It doesn't get hot enough to melt it. But because of that, the plastic would shrink when it got hot out, so they would just like fly off the car, and I would get home and I'd be like, "Oh, I'm missing a wheel cap." Oh well.
Yep.
Hopefully, I didn't take out anybody's windshield with them or not. But nobody ever chased me down saying I took out their windshield with Sonic the Hedgehog wheel cap. So.
Yeah.
I guess that's a small victory. But sticking with Sonic, Neil, your actual final pick.
My actual final pick is just a pure instrumental track. The first level of Sonic Unleashed.
I like it.
Yeah.
It gives me Delfino Plaza vibes.
A little bit, yeah.
Yep. This is the Auto Stadium stage called Windmill Isle.
Ooh,
Yeah, Sonic
I
Unleashed.
like the violin.
Sonic Unleashed had a fantastic soundtrack. They continued, but they had started with Sonic 06 with having a lot more orchestral rock going on. And I feel like Sonic Unleashed is where they really mastered it.
This is great.
Call me crazy, but it reminds me of a song by a death metal band. Specifically, it's Samba Brisa by a technical death metal band Atheist.
Mm-hmm.
Why does that not surprise me?
Yeah, it's also not really a death metal song; it's a samba song. So,
Yeah. I will say, if I could have picked any song from this game, I definitely would have picked Rooftop Run, because Rooftop Run is phenomenal.
All right, but I don't have a honorable mention because I didn't prepare one because I wasn't sure how this episode was going to go. It turns out, probably had time. I could have had one. But anyway, my last song, Neil mentioned not wanting to have two Sonic songs. But we talked about two Sonic songs, but that's beside the point. I ended up with another Final Fantasy track for my last pick. And I kind of took some liberties in that this isn't technically the first song that you hear when you begin playing the game, but it is from like the first like major place you go in the game. So it's Find Your Way from Final Fantasy VIII. Pressing play. This is the theme that plays in the dungeon when you are going to take your trial to become a seed. At the beginning of the game, you're going through this little lava infested cavern to hunt down and defeat Ifrit. So for all intents and purposes, this is kind of like level 1 for Final Fantasy VIII, where like this is the first time that you are actually like going to do something. But anyway, I just love the like very, very like uneasy feeling it has. And that piano, I've just always loved that. It's just got this kind of like really, really uneasy vibe to it.
yeah.
Just kind of ebbs and flows.
Yeah, this is really good.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VIII just has an incredible soundtrack that it does not get enough credit for, because people say, well, like, it's getting better. I'm seeing a lot more people come out in favor of Final Fantasy VIII than it has been in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But for the longest time, it's like, and you still see a lot of the same old online to this day. It's like, oh, the junction system sucks. Oh, it's like all the same old complaints. The Squall is such a terrible character. All he says is whatever.
Whatever.
It's like exactly. It's like the soundtrack easily stands beside the soundtrack for Final Fantasy VII in my eyes. Like, there are so many tracks like this one that are just so good. And this is just a chill track from the first dungeon at the very beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they use it in later dungeons as well. It does come up later, but yeah, this is one of the first songs you hear in the game, and it's just I've always loved it. I love Final Fantasy VIII. It's another game on the list to replay soon. But anyway, that gets us to the end of our main segment. That was pretty. Maybe we will do more songs next time we do an episode like this, if the podcast survives either Lucas's death chip or copyright hell. Who knows? Yeah. There's many things from this episode probably that can destroy us. So anyway, let's move on to our next segment, our link to the past. And today, on the date of recording, which is June 23 of 2024, we've talked about a a blue hedgehog
Oh, okay.
character. couple for a couple
blue-
songs here.
Blue robot.
Wouldn't you know that hedgehog? Wouldn't you know it's his birthday today?
Yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog released 33 years ago today on June 23rd of 1991 for the Sega Genesis and took the world by storm with that blue hedgehog who was so much more edgy and cool than Mario, and he went super fast and
Blast processing.
put the Genesis on the map.
It sure did. I
It's
think
his
Sonic
birthday.
is the only character that's come even close to toppling Mario.
Yeah.
Sonic is definitely one of the most resilient characters
Yes.
out there. It doesn't matter how bad it gets, Sonic keeps on going, and eventually he gets there.
Yep.
But he just keeps going, and you gotta love him for that.
Yeah. Yes, the character's charisma is enough to push him through. Like, even in Sonic 06, at the worst times, there's still that moment in the opening cutscene where there's a robot on a ledge, taps it with his foot, falls off, and it's like, yeah, that's Sonic. He's cool. Just has a charisma to him, and it rolls natural 20s all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, my earliest memory of Sonic was actually Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think I probably told the tale before of how I was gifted a Sega Genesis from my uncle with a bunch of games, and one of the games obviously was Sonic 2. I wish I still had that. I traded it for a Nintendo 64.
Ah.
Not a terrible trade.
That was it was a mistake.
Was it really? Okay.
Yeah, it was a mistake. Because I had a lot of games for the Genesis, but I only ever got one game for the 64, and it wasn't a bad game. It was Star Wars Shadows of the Empire.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't a bad game, but it wasn't like
it's not
one of the it wasn't like one of the games you get in Nintendo 64 for.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't Super Mario 64, it wasn't Zelda, it wasn't Smash Bros, it wasn't Perfect Dark or GoldenEye, it was Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. And eventually I ended up getting rid of my N64. I forget what I got rid of it for. I think I traded it for a Game Boy Color game. I was just like that. I was that done with it. Like, I never used it, and my friends had this Mario game for the Game Boy Color. I forget what it was. I think it was like, there was like a Mario RPG on the Game Boy Color, I feel like.
No, you might be thinking of some of the sports games.
No, it wasn't a sports game.
Because like
it might not have been.
Like
it might not have been.
on that.
It might not have been an RPG, but it was a Mario game on the Game Boy Color. I forget what it was. But oh yeah, I was so done with the N64 that I traded it for a Mario game for the Game Boy Color.
Using the transitive property here, you traded Sonic 2 for a Mario Game Boy Color game that you can't remember.
Yes.
Oof.
Like I said, I wish I still had my Sega Genesis. Yeah. Mistakes were made. It was funny too because I guess my friend's mom found out about it, and she was like, "This is dumb. What the hell? You're taking advantage of that poor boy." So she got the school involved because we traded at school because we were in like 7th grade. We were in like 7th grade. She got the school involved. The school called my mom. And then I got home from school. My mom asked me about this. And she's like, it's like, yeah, that's what I wanted to do. And she's like, okay, whatever. And then that was the end of it. But it was still funny. And I wish she would have told me no. Because at least then I would have the N64 at the worst case scenario. Other than a Mario game, I don't even remember what it is.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's on the same level as a kid trading me Sonic Advance for a colored pen.
Except
To be fair,
you were the one that got the better deal out of that.
Yeah.
to be fair, it was one of those cool pens that had like multiple different colors. So you
Oh,
could switch
yeah.
in. Yeah,
Mhm.
Sonic
I
Advance
I
yeah.
always tried to cram like multiple colors through at once, and it
right.
never worked.
Yep.
It doesn't.
Oh boy! Happy birthday, Sonic! In a
Yeah.
weird roundabout way of getting there.
That was derailed a little bit, but we ended up
Derailed a
back
bit.
at Sonic.
Yeah.
We found a different train track over there.
Oh man! Happy birthday, Sonic! You are one of the real ones, my guy.
Yeah.
And big year ahead for Sonic as well, because I mean we've got a new game and a new movie coming out this year.
With Keanu Reeves as Shadow.
Hell yeah.
Damn. I hope he's worked on his voice acting a little bit since Cyberpunk. But then again, he's voicing Shadow, so I don't think it'll matter that much.
No.
Yeah.
But his voice acting in Cyberpunk was a little rough. You could tell he's more of a screen actor. But he was in Cyberpunk. But anyway, let's get out of here. That is the end of episode 54. Lucas, where can they find you outside the podcast?
Well, for the limited time I have remaining before I burst into flames, you can find me on Linktree.
Fire!
linktr.ee/karn_evil_999. It's got links to join the podcast Discord server, listen to the backlog of podcasts. It's got links to my YouTube channel where watch long plays of the games we feature in our That One Game episodes. Add me on Steam if you want to get pinged by 20xx notifications constantly. And links to my Twitter, where I mostly just retweet nonsense that Colin does. That's linktr.ee/karn_evil_999.
And what about Neil?
You can also find me on Linktree, linktr.ee/vmk89. I've got a link to all the podcast stuffs. My Twitter, where I maybe like some things from now and again, which I don't think they even share that, is what I heard. But anyway, also my old YouTube channel is down there on the bottom, but most importantly on the top, I stream Minecraft Monday every Monday at 6:30 or 7 on twitch.tv/vmk9, where me and friends from the Rome server either play on the Rome server, like we will be yesterday when this comes out. Hopefully, I'm pretty sure we'll be able to get the new update up by Monday. Got to work on that, but yeah. So hopefully we'll be playing on the Rome server with the new update by Monday. But otherwise, we've been playing on a CTM map, Complete the Monument, where you find all 16 colors of wool hidden in hard to get to chests. And we're almost finished with that. We have 2 wolves remaining. One of them is in the Nether, and the other is likely locked behind the Ender Dragon. That'll be fun. Yeah. That is where you can find me. And Colin, how about you?
You can find me on Twitter at Delicious Morsel, and I am also on YouTube at youtube.com/deliciousmorsels and youtube.com/@deliciousmorselsmusic. And also, all of my music that I do for That One Game episodes and more is on Spotify and Apple and wherever else you find music, but I've got links to those down below. I have a new mystery song coming up, and hopefully it'll be live on Dawn Trail launch day, which is July the 2nd, which is a week from when this episode goes live. I don't know if it's going to make that date yet, because it still hasn't been sent out for licensing, even though I submitted it a week ago. So we'll see. Fingers crossed, because that would be cool. But anyway, that's all. And as always, if you liked what you heard here today, please be sure to hit the subscribe button where that's an option. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts because I hear they like that stuff. Hit the like button if that's a thing, and feel free to share this episode with a friend. We are going to be back in a couple weeks with another episode, but until then, have a wonderful rest of your day, and remember,
Stay for the cows.
Stay for the bears.